Okay. Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. So, how do we take our sample roast into production roast? Here's how I do it. So, when you get a green sample, you've never roasted before, you've heard great things about it, you know. Now you want to see if you can actually roast it. Well, that's what I do. So, I take my little Ikawa home roaster here. I only use 50-gram samples, even though the capacity for this is 100 grams. I want to be really conservative about my green use, and if I do make a mistake, I still can do that. Also, I think this roaster does not perform at its best when it's roasting at full capacity. It's electric, so, it's not that powerful, I don't think. And in my experience, I like to run just 50-gram samples. It's enough to cup with. It's enough to cup again with if I make a mistake or whatever it may be. Okay, and plus, I think it'll really help your relationship with your green buyers if you don't ask for so much. So you just ask for enough. So I always ask for 100 grams of a sample that I'm interested in. There's always some to keep around to compare and look at what the green looks like. I always like to have some left, especially if I'm buying it, if I really like it. If I don't really like it, it's not really a big deal. But if I like it, maybe I want to buy it again. I want to remember what it looks like too. Okay, like Hasea, this is where I get all my green right now, most of my green right now. I'll write down the cost for myself. This was a very expensive coffee at $10.49 a pound for a 20-kilogram bag, right? So, notes. I think that's really key throughout all of this, is to be a good little scientist and take good notes. So if you document what you're doing and you document it well, you'll always have somewhere to start from when you're trying to make some new decision or venture into the unknown. But as long as you've documented what you've done in the past with whatever you're doing, you have some place to start from, and you're not just, poking around in the dark. So let's take a coffee for example, okay? So this one, for example, here. On this roaster in particular, you can only manipulate two things. And for the most part, when I'm roasting a sample, I'm trying to figure out what this green has to offer by way of taste, okay? So I've already heard on the site, or I've read on the site, like, oh, okay, this natural coffee produces, black cherries, green tea, caramel body, medium finish. I don't know, something like that, okay? And now I'm like, okay, let's see if I can hit that in this sample roast. So what I'll do is I'll do one sample roast, 50 grams, at the lightest possible roast that I can do, that I can get away with. With this guy, you can do you can manipulate light and low. So I think it's, if I pull up the app, the iPad's dead right now, you can do light, medium, dark or something, and then the next thing that you can change is low, medium, high, something like that. So you can change those things to get it to roast light, medium, or dark. But basically, you just want to get a light sample to see what the coffee has to offer taste-wise, and maybe do something a little bit darker, which is what I did. So I'll have one right here. I picked light, low, and that was at a total time of 6 minutes and 10 seconds. I'll also do the weight loss. So with this one, 50-gram sample, the end weight was 44.3, and then I do the calculation, right, and I got 12.8% weight loss. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a typical light roasted coffee. It's a little high. It's a little much. So I'm thinking if I'm seeing a 12.8, maybe not a 12.2 or 11.9, I'm thinking that's at the darker end of this light spectrum. So I'm thinking this is a clue for me, because I took good notes, and I took good notes before, that this is a little high, and I think I can go lighter in production. Okay, those are little clues that I'm giving myself. The next roast, I go a little bit darker just to make sure, does this have anything to offer at a darker level? So I picked light, and then I picked medium instead. So the first one I picked light, low, light, medium on the next one. Did the calculation again. Check this out, the weight loss is 16%. Whoa, that's like dark territory. And the total roast time was only 6 minutes, 30 seconds. So 20 seconds more, it went to really dark all of a sudden. I was like, okay, well, let's just see. I have these 2 samples with me, boop, boop, like that. I write it all down, I label them really well, and then I wait. So this, for example, this was a wash coffee. I'm gonna wait a day till I cup that. If I've got a natural coffee, I'm gonna wait 2 days, okay? Because I need time to just give off gas for all the processing and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a really big clue right there that I'm doing. If I didn't calculate weight loss during this time, I think I would be, you know, just not helping myself out, not setting myself up for the best way of trying to take this into production. So weight loss, do that. Total roast time, write that down. Try to write down as many key things as you can and keep it in a notebook like this, okay? So we've waited our days, right? Now we're gonna cup our samples and see and verify if these are good samples to then take on to the next step, which is production. Okay, so we're gonna verify, we're gonna cup them. Oh yeah, we're getting that strawberry, we're getting that caramel, we're getting that, what did I say? Black cherry, whatever. So I verify with cupping that these are good samples to take. And maybe even that dark one, that darker one, it's not really dark, right? But that darker one, we don't like that one. Cool, good. We can eliminate that off the board. We don't like it. We don't like how it tastes. We have this light roasted coffee. It's at a 12.8% weight loss at this level here. Now, I know from my own experience that my Mill City Roaster, I can take it even to like 11.8 if I wanted to. Well, I could go really crazy if I wanted to, but I know in general, I can go lighter than what this sample roast can make for me. So maybe I'm not getting like a green apple note that I feel like this coffee can offer me, right? Maybe I'm still tasting a little roastiness in this sample cup, but it's got good potential. I can taste that. That comes with experience. So I go, okay, let's take this to the roaster now. And when we roast it at a standard way of roasting it, because I don't have anything, you know, I've never roasted this before on the production roaster. I'm gonna just roast it like I normally do, as, say it's a natural, as a natural, and being that it's from, let's say, Costa Rica, so it's from Latin American, and it's a natural. So Latin American countries usually growing that about a medium, not a high elevation, okay? So for me, that's a 350 charge standard. I'm gonna just start there. Let's just see. And I'm just gonna roast it. And I'm gonna try to hit in the middle phase at least, because I can hit green, that's not a big problem for a lot of people. But in the middle phase, I'm gonna try to hit 3 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm gonna try to hit at least that, like that's my minimum. And then if I get to that, cool, good. And I should be checking all the things, you know, as I'm roasting on the 1 kilo machine, checking on things, make sure that I'm gonna hit first crack, maybe at 8 minutes 30, 372 degrees Fahrenheit, and everything looks good, right? So I'm doing all the things, checking all the boxes to make sure that my middle phase looks good, and then I'm approaching first crack at the right time. And then I'm gonna bring my sample here up to the sight glass as I'm roasting, pulling the trier, looking at it, you know, got good light on it too. And I'm gonna try to, one, go lighter, right? I'm gonna write down my notes. I'm gonna go lighter. I'm gonna try to hit a lighter weight loss because I want to retain more, and maybe there's something more it has to offer. I don't know this, but it's an experiment. So I'm gonna try to go lighter than this color here that I have, right, from my sample. Cool, I see that. And even though maybe the numbers look crazy to me, like say I'm gonna drop it at 6% development on the last phase, and that looks crazy to me, I'm gonna do it anyway because the color's telling me that this is lighter than that, just a bit. Now your eyes gotta be pretty attuned, right? Drop it. And I also know that it's still going to be roasting after I drop it. So you have to be a little preemptive there, right? Okay, cool, so we drop that. We do the weight loss. Maybe I get a 12.2% weight loss. And I'm like, yes, I did it. That was successful. It's lighter than my sample. Everything looks okay, looks good. Check the box, write everything down. Okay, this is the one, this is the 12.2%. All right, now let's see, try to match it. Match this guy, because I got I got 2 batches of green, and you can do as many batches as you want, right? In terms of like trying to figure out how to roast it. But based upon my sample, and I think it tastes good or whatever it is, I'm gonna try to hit that. So I do the whole thing, and maybe now, if I dropped it at 6% in the last phase, maybe I'm gonna drop it at like 8. I don't know, something like that. It all kind of just depends on what I'm seeing there, and I'm looking at the color, and I'm verifying and all that stuff, and then I make that decision. Then I weigh it, and I get that. That's like the only verification I have at the time at the roaster if I was on track to accomplishing my goal. So I'll get the weight loss, and then if it's close to this, like a 12.8, I'll be like, cool, I got it, right? 12.8, between 12.2 and 12.8, it doesn't seem like a lot, but eventually you will taste that difference in the cup. It is possible. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it is the same, but that's why we always cup to verify. So we've done all of our samples. We feel good about them. If we don't feel good about it at the roaster, grab another batch, go do it again, and try to accomplish your goal there that you're trying to do for yourself. We come back, it's a natural process coffee. You're gonna wait 2 days to let it rest, all right? I wait 2 days, I cup them, I compare it to my sample roast, and I try to do them pretty close together, obviously, right? Because like, I'll do my sample, all the while, if I'm done with this sample and it's aging, the more time that I wait to do it in between production, if I didn't take the best notes possible, that might give me a little bit of a handicap in terms of like, did I match it? Did I get it right? So I like to do it as close as possible to each other. Sometimes that's not possible. Like say you order this sample, it gets to you, it takes a week to get to you, and then you order, you know, your inventory of it, your pounds and pounds and pounds of it, and maybe that doesn't come for another 2 weeks or so. Yeah, that happens. So in that case, you have the color of the green, you have the color of the samples, you have your really good notes, so you can go off that, okay? But I'm so local to this guy, I just go over there, I just pick it up like, you know, in a couple of days if they have it in stock. So I can run these tests pretty close to each other and really compare. I'll be like, okay, cool. I still got, you know, a roasted sample from this coffee. Let's cup it again to each other. You know, they're just a couple of days off, but let's see what the differences are. All right, so that's what I do. And if I nail it, I'm like, yes. If I didn't, I go back. I go back, I look at my roast curve, I look at my notes, I see what's up, what happened. Like, if you take good notes, they're like little breadcrumbs along the trail of figuring out what this coffee is, and especially just you being a roaster and learning. You take these little notes, it's like breadcrumbs, you go, oh, this breadcrumb is like really, this note was not formed really well. Next time I'm gonna write down that note. Like before, I didn't used to write down like, oh, light, low. I was like, I don't know, as I'm roasting with this, I'm new to this, I didn't know what notes to really write down yet because I just hadn't gone through the process. So after the process, I now write down, you know, what kind of development it's doing, the total roast time, and then weight loss. I figured out those parameters, those little bits of information were the most important and the most effective for me when I take it into production. So some of you may have a hot top for that, or some of you may have like a, I don't know, what's that, like a gene something? Whatever, little kind of roaster you can do little samples on. To me, I just look at it as for samples and then for personal use too. Like if I'm gonna go camping and I wanna just roll with some of that stock, you know, coffee, I'll roast a little bit for myself. That way I don't kind of like get into my own inventory. But yeah, it's just that. But just understand, like, this machine has its handicaps, has its limitations. And so the fact that this could only go 12.8% for this light low, you know, that's the lightest it could go. I'm like, okay, cool, but at least it's a starting point, and that's what, you know, sample roasters give you. They give you a nice starting point. And then based off of your experience, your knowledge, and whatever's going on there, you take good notes. You can go into your production and have total control and then figure it out from there, right? But what's great about these is like they give you that starting point, right? And what's even cooler about this, I mean, this is not like a review or anything, but I can roast coffee and play games at the same time. So when I have a lot of samples to run through, like it's work, right? And I'm not really a fan of just sitting around and waiting for things to be done. So I like to be doing something all the time. So I can let this guy go because it's so simple. I just press a button, I go play some games, wait for it to roast, wait for that 6 minutes or another 6 minutes or whatever it is, taking good notes in between. And yeah, it's good. So that's how I do it. I hope that really helped you guys. You know, maybe I'll take you on a vlog of that. I find it pretty boring though, but I mean, I guess it would be helpful. Follow-up questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to help you out there. All right, good things. See you next time. Bye.